Okay.
We should be live now. I think I see.
Yeah, I'm just looking for the alerts.
All right. Just going to pop out the chat. We're going to share this in the Telegram group.
Okay. There was some audio that just popped in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Ryan.
There it is.
Let's see.
Hi, Crypto Hunter. Okay.
Gonna pin this.
I'll drop it in official. Paste
Turn my
it.
volume down.
Oh, it worked. The thumbnail came up in the link automatically.
Yes, Rick, nice hat. Nice hat. Ryan says nice hat.
Thank
Hey,
you.
David. Senyo, watching from Ghana. I think we saw you last week as well. Welcome back. Manager, good morning. Lead Trans, how you doing? Robert from Slovenia, how are you? Ryan says, Rick, thanks for the help last week on setting up the node.
You bet, Ryan.
Falcon Eye Vision, how are you doing? Jeffrey, happy Sunday. Mark, hello from Belgium. How are you? Crypto Hunter from Miami. Michael Pins, hello from Dubuque. I don't know where that is, but hello. Okay. We're going to start in like
Looks good.
30 seconds. Okay. My chat is, I am dropping this real quick. I'm just restoring my chat. Hold on.
Roger.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a ton of windows open. You probably do too.
Yes, yes.
Sorry, guys, for the delay there. We just needed a moment to get the everything.
Yes.
We got some screen shares today. We're going to be going over the 3D map.
Yes.
We're going to be going over Reddit, the Reddit Top 10 Weekly. We're going to be going over recent news. Okay, looks good.
Okay. Oh, great. So, welcome everyone to the Cardano Effect podcast, episode 63. The purpose of this podcast is to take high-level developer information and projects that are occurring within the Cardano space and break them down into bite-sized, consumable pieces of information for everyday use. I'm your host, Philippe, and let's get this podcast started. So, Rick and myself are the hosts of the Cardano Effect podcast today. And if you're unfamiliar with this format of our live streams, we do a live stream weekly now. We've been doing it for the past probably 5-6 weeks, maybe longer. It might be 2 months now.
Since early August.
Since early August. So we've been doing it. And it's been received well. So the purpose of the live stream is just to have a more intimate discussion with all the Cardano viewers and crypto viewers in general. So we go over the weekly recap. We go to the Reddit. You can follow along on Reddit, sort by top for this week. We go over the news articles. We go over any of the breaking announcements that happen. And crypto moves so quickly that it seems like there's something happening every week, especially with the Cardano project. So we had a lot of stuff that we can talk about this week. A lot of things happen. We can talk about the information drop. Like we said, we have some screen shares today as well. And I'd like to remind everyone that if you're not subscribed to the Cardano Effect podcast, please consider subscribing. Our viewership is increasing, and we want to try to push that as high as possible. So without further ado, the financial advice is none of what we say on this podcast is financial advice. Remember, you are your best financial advisor. And if you don't think you are, you need to find someone who's qualified to do so. So Rick, how are you doing this morning? What's going on? What's happening?
Hey, doing great, Philippe. Doing well this morning. We had a podcast that we recorded yesterday with the stake pool operators, where the stake pool operators answer community questions. That will be releasing tomorrow morning. We planned it for December 9th, very early in the morning, so that when the mainnet announcements come, not the mainnet, but the testnet announcements come out, it'll go out with that. I would like to give a shout out to IOHK and thank you very much, IOHK, for sponsoring this podcast. We certainly appreciate your support. And I also appreciate the support of all the viewers and the guests that come on this podcast. Thank you very much for that as well. The podcast is available on all major audio streaming platforms such as iHeartRadio, Google Play, all of them. So, and we're working on TuneIn. So we have some messages out to tune in, and we're going to see if we can get listed and broadcast on there as well. So let's get into the news for this week. A lot going on, Philippe. There's a lot of cool stuff that has come out with the map. December 9th was the planned, the testnet might go live, so we'll touch on that. The testnet where the users are engaged in the testnet. December 5th was the information drop. Lots of information came out there. Do you want me to start off with that map, or how do we lead this off? We do
Yes,
the map?
let's start off with the map. Explain what's going on, because that map was very cool.
It is. Okay, so let me get that up, and we'll get the link down in the description. Let me see if I can drop this link in the chat as well. Yeah, I'm going to drop the link in the chat. So let me post it there so you can follow along. Let's see how that goes. Oops, I'm using my... Oh, there we go. Okay, link is in the chat, and screen share coming up. Hopefully I have this framed right, and there we go. And Philippe, if you could let me know if that looks correct, because you got the better visual from your end.
Yes, that does look correct.
Okay, and it should be kind of moving right now. So I want to go over this map. This was created by Scott Darby. I don't know who else was involved in the creation of it, but Scott Darby created the Symphony of Blockchains. If you're interested in the Symphony of Blockchains, that's also available on IOHK website links. Philippe did a video on the Phil PA channel, about 8-10 months ago. And so if you want to see how you operate the Symphony of Blockchains, there's a video there you can check out over on his channel. Now this map is animated. It's moving on its own right now. It moves to the position of the last seen block, the last block. And you can see it's moving rapidly. The slot time is set to 2 seconds, but there's a coefficient that is set that makes the block time either 10 or 20 seconds. My math goes off, and it depends on the testnet, but it's a testnet setting. And it moves to the most recent block. Now, there is no one node that can see every single node. Not any one node sees all nodes, because this is a completely decentralized testnet, with the exception of the only thing that is not decentralized is the bootstrap, and that is just how you do a test net. So that's not really important right now. The bootstraps are always from the IOHK trusted peers, but as soon as the node comes alive, it goes into a peer-to-peer protocol process called ProleteR, and it begins collecting up data about where the other node's located. The other nodes report in and say, this is how you contact me, and they all start communicating. So you could bring a node up right now, and it will jump in on this map at some point, as long as it's visible to that IOHK peer. This map, I observed it a little bit yesterday. It doesn't go to every single block announcement, but it goes to the block announcements that node had seen most recently. So to just be aware, that's just how peer-to-peer networks work. Some peers see some peers, and other peers see other peers, but not all peers see all peers all the time. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I used a bunch of words over and over again.
Well, you're basically explaining how decentralized Cardano actually is. The fact that one peer cannot see all the other nodes within the ecosystem at any particular time. So even if there was a government entity that technically wanted to shut down Cardano, they wouldn't have a map of every single place, a static map of every single place at any one particular time. So it's very decentralized.
Yeah, it is. And you can see it right there on the map. Multiple nodes talking to multiple nodes, and that's just how it works. And this is testnet. It's a global testnet. I did have someone on Reddit kind of like nitpick at me and say, oh, well, so what? Who cares? It's a private testnet. No, it isn't. There it is right there on the map. It's pretty obvious. It's a global testnet. It's all over the planet. There are hundreds of volunteers involved with these nodes. These nodes are run by multiple people. We even had on Twitter, at one point, Dan Larimer said, how do you know that's not multiple nodes run by one person? Well, because there's hundreds of people in Telegram.
Yes.
that are communicating with each other and setting up all these nodes. It's pretty obvious. It's self-evident. Doesn't need to be explained.
Just look at the map.
Just look at the map. And this was brilliant. Thank you, Scott Darby, and all the folks involved with the creation of this. It's incredible. You notice I've been hands off. I'm not touching it. It's just magically moving on its own. if you work in an office or somewhere, this might be nice up on a large screen TV and just leave it sit there running. But you can grab it. So I'm going to grab it. You can see the pixels interact. I'm going to grab it and move it to where I want it to go. And for example, you could just pick any point in the Earth and you can see all these different nodes. This takes multiple nodes to make this map. This isn't just one node, because not any one node sees all nodes. So in order for this map to function, there's probably a couple of different nodes reporting in their connections to whatever generates this map. And that's how it can communicate with, it looks like pretty much all the nodes are on here, but it takes multiple nodes to see all the nodes. So I think I beat that dead horse.
What an amazing visual, though. What an amazing visual.
It is. It's incredible.
Those guys are talented. So shout out to Scott for
Yeah.
creating this.
Yeah, and all others involved, whoever else was involved in creating this is fantastic. It's really cool. It really helps to have a visual aid to visualize the testnet. If all of it has been text, like tweets that say, yay, testnet is going good, or oh crud, the testnet is crashing, or whatever. If it was all text, then you'd be like, okay, great, what is it doing? But as soon as you put a visual aid like this, bam, people get it.
Yes.
And that's what you got to do. You got to make your point in 5 seconds or less, unlike me on the podcast.
No, this was good.
I got another thing on here. I got another tab open. You want to check that out, Philippe?
Yes, let's do it.
Pool registration tags. So just so everybody's familiar with, I'm going to hop over. Did my web page change?
Yes, it did.
Okay, cool. So this is the pool registration facility. It interacts with the blockchain kind of in a sense where people can put their pools, and these are examples of pool IDs. So these pool IDs will show up. This is run by the Cardano Foundation. These pool IDs will show up in Daedalus and Yoroi. And people don't have to register the pool. They don't have to put these tags, but these tags are going to put a link in the tag in Daedalus. You'll be able to click on, say, hey, I'm interested in this pool, and you click on it. It will launch the link to the web page. But you don't have to have a web page, and you don't have to register your node on this. You don't have to do it. Your node will still interact with the blockchain. This is just a way of getting your node ID to show up in the Daedalus and Yoroi wallets, and so that you can become familiar with a brief tag. These tags are between 3 and 5 characters, letters and numbers, okay? So that's an example of what you will see in the wallet. It's super simple, or I anticipate it will be super simple. We'll know more December 9th, unless I'm getting my dates wrong, but are any questions on the tags or the map? I'm done with that screen share, Philippe. You want me to pull that off the grid there?
That's fine.
Any
Go
questions? Ahead. Okay, I'm going to stop share. Absolutely brilliant work there, both by the Cardano Foundation with the registration method. It still leaves things decentralized. It's just an option if you want your pool ID to show up in Daedalus and Yoroi. You can register it there. Chris Graffagnino, if I messed his name up again. Chris Graffagnino made a GitHub procedure on how to register your pool ID. So check out Chris's GitHub, and we'll get a link to that down below after the podcast. All right, cool.
Okay. All right. I'm looking at the chat. It seems like I think people are speaking Dutch to each other. So
I can't.
I don't know. Yes. So
I can only
we'll just let that conversation continue.
Yeah, I can only speak like 5 languages: English, Australian, Canadian, New Zealand, and Canadian. And UK, I can speak UKian. They're all the same language.
So everyone, I wanted to give a quick update. Now I'm going to give a quick update on what happened on December 5th, that information drop. So IOHK published a blog. You can go ahead and check out the IOHK blog a couple days ago. And there is a stake pool operator calculator, an individual delegator calculator, and just more information. So you can really go ahead and go and see what your numbers look like when you're going to be delegating, what percentage you are going to get for your ROI. It's looking like it's around 7.8% right now. Things may change, everyone. So Charles said it may be between 7 and 15. And the more people that actually participate in delegating their ADA that means the less the rewards for everyone. And vice versa, the more people that delegate, the less people that delegate, the higher the rewards. And you may want as high rewards as possible, but what you should really be interested in is as many people delegating as possible. If there's a lot of participation in the testnet, chances are that that's going to carry over or roll over to the mainnet. And what happens when a lot of people are actually delegating on the mainnet, that's when we talk about price appreciation. We don't talk about price on this podcast. I mean, we do in a general sense, but it's not financial advice. But if 75%, 80%, 90% of people are actually delegating when it comes time to go to mainnet, there's only 10% of ADA left to trade, do whatever. So the demand is going to be extraordinary, and it's going to drive up the price of ADA. So while high rewards are great, higher participation is better. What are your thoughts about that, Rick?
Well, my take on it is the more participation, the better, because the more participation there is, the more secure the network, and it demonstrates greater functionality. I also think the mainnet is going to be a reflection of the testnet. So these parameters are going to be tested on testnet. It's going to start off there at some percent. There's like a baseline annual percentage. And as Philippe was saying, so the more people participate, let's say you get 90% participation, the percentage reward, annual reward calculation will decrease, which is okay, because that means you have good participation. And as the participation goes up, the percentage goes down because people are incentivized. So when the participation drops, it goes up, like Philippe was explaining. So participation drops, the percentage goes up. The higher percentage incentivizes people. So what I think in summary is it will reach an equilibrium. We need to find the equilibrium, the balance between participation and percent rewards. It will naturally find that place.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So yeah, that's a good thing. And I personally think the more the better. The more people that participate, the better.
Of course. That's what's going to indicate that there's a lot of interest in the ecosystem, and ultimately it's going to benefit everyone. So a couple other questions were for any of the latecomers. The second snapshot was November 29th. So I know I'm repeating myself, but there are some people that just have come into the Cardano ecosystem and they're hearing things about incentivized testnet staking. Unfortunately, if you're in that case and you did not have your ADA on Daedalus or your Yoroi snapshot ready address, you will not be able to participate in the incentivized testnet staking. But you shouldn't fret, because the mainnet should be around the corner. I mean, it might take a few months, but you'll be able to delegate to a pool once the mainnet comes. So for all those that weren't ready for the snapshot or just received the information a little too late, you won't be able to participate in the incentivized testnet staking. So, and then all those that have ADA in a Yoroi or Daedalus wallet, and they're asking about, can I return my ADA to my Ledger NOS or move it to a more secure location? Yes, you may, because the snapshot is over. So your mainnet really has your mainnet ADA, it really has no purpose right now other than what purpose you assign to it. So you can trade it, you can sell it, you can put it back on your ledger, you can just sit it where it's at right now. Whatever you want to do, it's not going to affect your testnet ADA. Next week or the week after, not sure, no dates have been officially announced, you're going to be able to download a special version of Daedalus or a special version of Yoroi. And that's what you'll use to enter your seed phrase or your seed words, and you'll get access to your testnet ADA. And from that platform, you will be able to delegate to a stake pool. The stake pool, like Rick was showing in the previous screen share, each stake pool will have their own ticker, similar to like a stock ticker, and you'll be able to view some metrics such as uptime and reliability, and you'll be able to one-click delegate. So it's going to be a very easy process. It's not like you're going to need any sort of advanced training in order to delegate. All you need to do is you're going to need to download, access your testnet ADA, choose which pool, and then set it and forget it. Depending on the pool, you choose to delegate to. So I think As far as minimum amount of ADA, there's no minimum. Just have at least one ADA. And delegate to a pool, and the snapshot already happened already. And you will not be able to add more ADA to your mainnet wallet, and it's not going to reflect on your testnet wallet. What you had now is what you'll have for the next 3, 4, 5 months, however long the testnet happens. And as far as delegating to more than one stake pool, unfortunately, for the version 1 of the testnet for staking, you will not be able to split up individual wallets to delegate to point to different pools. You'll have to split up your wallets in order to create in order to delegate to multiple different pools. But that feature will be added afterwards. Rick, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'll give you an example of what I'm going to do. I'm going to create two wallets of the same inside the same instance of Daedalus. So 2 wallets inside the same instance. I'm going to delegate one wallet to one pool and the other wallet to a different pool. So it works perfectly fine. It's still better than any other tech out there.
Yes.
What I've seen on the testnet in the text windows, we don't have a graphic interface yet, has been more advanced than any other cryptocurrency that I've messed with, minus the GUI. Important words. No graphic interface, but using the text windows, it's more advanced. Yeah, and as Philippe said, at November 29th, 1200 UTC, 1200 plus 7 seconds, if that's the snapshot, if you did whatever your ADA was at the time, that is the testnet, period. Yeah. There's no adding later, and there's no rewinding the clock. It's just that point in time is the testnet.
Yes, correct.
The current testnet doesn't use that data, what we're testing right now. We use a currency that people have come to call FADA, F-A-D-A, fake ADA or faucet ADA, FADA. And I don't know if testnet ADA, once it's the human's ADA, instead of the faucet ADA, I don't know if we're going to call it like TADA, T-A-D-A, to make sure you discriminate between real-world ADA, which is ADA, and testnet ADA, which is currently called FADA. I like FADA. Yeah. But there will be two different kinds of ADA. There will be there's multiple testnets running, so there's always going to be a testnet using FADA from a faucet. It's just magic money. You query the faucet and it dumps money into the wallet. So don't get that confused with your ADA that's on the testnet. Your ADA that's in Daedalus and Yoroi is not faucet ADA. So try not to cross the wires. You can't cross those wires. They never will. It's impossible. Okay.
Yes.
So there will be 3 forms of ADA that exist simultaneously. There's real-world ADA. There's FADA, that is the pool operators are testing with that, free ADA, fake ADA. Then there's your ADA on the testnet. So 3 different types, totally different.
Yes, that is correct. A general word of advice for anyone that's feeling a little bit anxious, less is more here. So just download whatever interface is available when that becomes available from IOHK or Emergo or Yoroi. Delegate to a pool, and don't worry about cross-sending ADA for your testnet ADA to fake ADA to your mainnet ADA. Just keep everything as in place, and just the simpler the better. The simpler it's going to be, the better. You're not going to have to worry about all of the designs behind it and all of the work that the stake pool operators are worrying about.
Yep. You'll have 2 copies of Daedalus or 2 copies of Yoroi. One Daedalus is real-world Daedalus, and the other Daedalus is the testnet Daedalus.
Yes.
And the streams cannot cross. It cannot cross.
Exactly.
Can't send one to the other. It doesn't work like that. There were some questions in there. Interesting stuff from, let me scroll back up to it. Let's scroll away from TMI Fanboy. He said, don't you guys think that staking rewards will increase the supply with 7% yearly, so the price will never reach all-time high? That's a good question. Let's break that up into 2 pieces. Will the staking rewards increase the supply? Well, yes. But will it cause it to never reach all-time high? I disagree. I think there's different factors involved there.
Yeah.
I think bag dumping would, if it never reached all-time high again, it's because of bag dumping, not because of inflation. Because Stellar inflated like crazy. They're doing airdrops, man. I got Stellar showing up twice so far, chunks of Stellar. And it didn't seem to make a noticeable impact, but I wasn't looking at it closely. So I don't think inflation, that small amount, I think it might get people's interest. So I think the increased interest plus the decrease, they balance each other out, and they go, oh, well, that actually works. And, so I think the staking percent, now, if it was really high, like 25% or 30%, yeah, it'll definitely have an impact, but the lower percentages will have probably a negligible impact. Then the all-time high is probably, it may occur again. Again, never financial advice. It'll
Yes.
probably happen because of a bull run with Bitcoin
Yeah.
if you hit all-time high. But I consider growth in two different categories. There's intrinsic growth of ADA, like right now during a flat market. Right now, the market's relatively flat. And as Cardano proves itself, you should see a slight increase in value because it is proving itself. So that's one type of increase. Then there's the bull runs that make everything go up, regardless if it's good or not. So I kind of like keep them in separate categories. Maybe that helps. I don't know. I hope I answered your question. Thank you for that.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Let's
very
see.
complex. Finance is so complex. Umid Saidov is a financial wizard. He'd be the guy to have on that question. We should have Umid come back.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Umid can answer those kind of questions. Plus, he's
Yeah.
qualified. I'm
Yeah.
not.
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay, I can't read Dutch.
No, no, I'm seeing a lot
I
of
can't
Dutch
read it.
here.
I don't have a
Uh,
translator on my.
Willie Coyote said snapshot taken of all wallets and single data list, right? That's correct. So if you had multiple different wallets, each wallet will have every single seed phrase is associated with a different wallet that you're going to be able to access. So all your little 12 word, 15 word combinations, you'll be able to access each one of those. It will be a separate wallet.
Yeah. Oh, and there's another question in there, Philippe. It says, so I take it the ninth is off. This is from Ryzian. Thank you,
Oh, okay.
Ryzian. He says, so I take it the ninth is off for the start of the testnet. We don't know. Last word
We
I
don't know.
got is it's
No.
the ninth. And I will tell you this, Jormungandr 080 RC9 is incredibly solid. It is the best I've seen yet. It has all the technologies in there. It's extremely solid. It doesn't mean it's perfect. It just means it's a really good step in the right direction. So if I were to make a guess tomorrow, I would lean towards it's probably on. Not definitely, but I'm leaning 60% confidence level that it's a go tomorrow. Way above my pay grade. We asked Samuel Leathers. We've asked him in Telegram, hey, when is this gonna, And Sam said it's above his pay grade.
Okay.
So the decision has to come from multiple really smart people saying, is this working? Yes. Is that working? Yes or no. And they got to get green across the board. It's got to be testnet is working, Daedalus is working, Yoroi is working. Check, check, check. And once the higher level decision makers determine that all requirements have been met, then they will launch it. So we'll know tomorrow. I think probably mid afternoon tomorrow, East Coast time, late in the evening, UTC time, we will know if it's a launch on the ninth or not.
Yes.
Well, we'll definitely know by midnight UTC time
Yeah, we will.
because then it'll be the 10th.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Plutus Fest was about a year ago today.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was
Yeah.
December 11th,
Yes.
1 year
Yes.
ago today.
Yes.
And the Plutus Playground has a lot of happy people in there. I don't know what
Yeah.
I don't know understand it, so I don't mess with that. So there's multiple test nets going on. There's the Plutus Playground, which is a form of test net.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
great.
So, do you want to grab a couple more questions or you want to get to our next topic? We did the Cardano information drop. We did the node map. I was thinking that maybe we talk a little bit about the Cardano Foundation. And then afterwards, we can go back to chat and talk about anything else that people want to talk about.
Yeah, good. Let's hit Cardano Foundation chat and roll over to Reddit at that point. Sound good?
Okay, sounds good.
All right,
So,
buddy.
just to talk about a little bit about the Cardano Foundation. Sorry. If you missed our previous episode of the Cardano Effect podcast that was released on Thursday morning, we had Nathan Kaiser on. He is the chairperson of the Cardano Foundation. I thought it was a very good episode. We've been wanting this episode for a while. It finally happened. The stars finally aligned. And I think he shared some great information. Everything from whether or not the Cardano Foundation is going to be running their own pools to the future direction of the Cardano Foundation, to whether or not it's going to be a sustainable sort of business model for years on end. So there were a lot of tidbits that you can learn some quality information. And like almost all of our episodes with guests, we do timestamps. So if you're short on time, you can click and figure out exactly what you want to watch or what interests you. We also have a secondary channel where we post clips as well, TCE clips. So just check that out. But once again, there was a little bit of information that came out after we had the podcast. We weren't aware of it while we were doing the podcast, and we seem to think that the decision was made shortly after we made the podcast. So
Yeah, it turns out that was a coincidence because I missed that, Philippe. Nathan had said it during the podcast. And I was like,
yeah,
I was writing the stuff down. I was like, went right over my head.
yes. So basically, the press release statement was released from Bakit. And Bakit is the communications and marketing director over at the Cardano Foundation. And the Cardano Foundation, in line with its goal to strengthen and diversify its highest supervisory body, has appointed Tamara Hassan and Nicolas Aqueros as new council members effective immediately. And I thought this was great because the Cardano Foundation, if you've been part of this project for a long period of time, you realize that there were a lot of muddy waters early on in the Cardano Foundation. Things got really messed up. Money got locked, this, that. Things needed to be reorganized. And it seems like the Cardano Foundation has grown by 5x over the past few months as far as new hirees. And they're really taking certain steps in order to ensure that the Cardano Foundation flourishes in the future. And I know Nico, I met Tamara, and they're both great ambassadors or council members for the Cardano Foundation. I mean, they're great people, and they work extremely hard. I've met Nico at Plutus Fest. I met him at IOHK Summit. We've had him on the podcast a couple times, and he's really put in a lot of work. And Tamara, I'm less familiar with what she does, but she's the HR person for IOHK, and apparently she's responsible for most of the hirees for IOHK. And IOHK has over 230 employees based on
230 now, yeah.
Which is just I don't even understand how it grew so quickly, which is incredible. But I think this is great. I'm always excited when new or fresh blood comes to the Cardano Foundation. And now it's time for us to sit, observe what they do, and see whether the foundation can prove itself. I haven't been following what's been going on as far as the discourse between. I know there's been another side of looking at this and stuff like that, but my personal belief is that you got to give people a chance to prove themselves before just jumping on it. And I think that hiring new people is wonderful. And I think that these two people represent the Cardano Foundation to the fullest. I'll pass it over to you, Rick. But what do you think?
I think it was a really good idea getting both of them in place because we know them. And so Charles put out a video about 2.5 days ago, where he explained in greater detail because people questioned and they said, hey, aren't you centralizing the Cardano Foundation? So Charles made a video which explained he can't have another Michael Parsons incident where you hire someone you don't know and they do something that they shouldn't be doing. But by getting Nicolas, everyone knows Nicolas. I met Tamara at Plutus Fest. She is a warm and genuine person. We know she's good people. We know Nicolas is good people. Those are the people you want in place because it's temporary, about 12 to 24 months. They're only going to be on that council for a limited period of time to transition to phase 3, where the council is composed of people who are the right people. So
yeah.
That was what Charles tried to emphasize in his video. Check that out over on his channel, where he explains extremely well in great detail. Okay, he gives the great detail. But we know Nicolas, we know we can trust him. We know Tamara, we know we can trust her. It's in good hands. It was a great move, in my opinion. That's no BS. that is my opinion. It was a really good move.
I think so too. I think so too.
Warm,
And
young, charismatic, energetic, forward thinking. They're the right people in the right place at the right time. Definitely.
you want quality 5-star people running organizations, running whatever project that you're a part of. It's the I mean, the alternate is, you just mentioned that people think that it's centralized, but I don't see what the alternative here is. We can't just hire some random people to go represent the council for the Cardano Foundation. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Just random people. Crypto is such a high barrier to entry to start off with. It's hard to find people that even know what's going on. You could be PhD level and you still don't understand what's going on in cryptocurrency because it's just a whole nother field. So just hiring two random people just because, it doesn't make much sense. It has to be strategic and the money has to be spent correctly. So I'm all for it. I think there should be some more information coming from the Cardano Foundation this week. So stay tuned for that news. We're not privy to share that information, but there should be some more information coming this week. And we just have to stay tuned and watch what they do. We criticize after we see certain actions, but you got to give them a chance. It's December 4th. It's December 8th now. That press release, 4 days. Give them a chance to work and put in that work.
Yeah.
But
plus, they're already a little battle proven, battle tested because they're still with Cardano after more than a
yeah,
year. So hell yeah, man.
of course.
Yeah. We have
So
a few.
that
I'm sorry.
we have a few questions.
There was a few things came up. Falcon Eye Vision asked Phil, are you guys satisfied with the incentive percentage? Yes. It was advertised. It was put out at like 3.5 to 4% were initial estimates, but because of the level of risk and the current positive market conditions in the stock and bond sector, it probably prompted people to say we better go with a high percent. Plus, those percentages have to compete with Binance. And so we're going to talk about that on tomorrow's podcast with the
Yes.
stake pool operators.
Yes. And that,
But
that was a
I'm
good
happy
one.
with it. Thank you, Falcon Eye Vision. Falcon Eye Vision, my question is, are you happy with it? Are you
Yeah.
guys happy? So
Yeah.
let us know in the chat. Are you guys happy with that percentage of 7 to 12%, depending on participation? Let us know.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Not that I can do anything about it, but at least we know. uh, Let me see. There's questions like Josh O asks, why is nobody speaking to Chainlink or at least beginning the conversation? Josh O, I'm not sure. Maybe somebody is. We don't know. I've got a different question. My question is, why aren't they coming to Cardano? Maybe they are. You never know. The Chainlink people might be the people who are playing with the Plutus playground. We don't know. I don't know.
You never know. Yes. You never know.
And people keep their business secrets to themselves. So if someone is interfacing with Chainlink, if Cardano is interfacing with Chainlink, why would you publicize that until you had it functional?
Yes.
Because then you're going to expose your business secret. Then someone else will say, oh, let's kind of punch a hole in that and take it over, like usurp it. You know what I mean? So someone may be, we just don't know, because not all business secrets are public, and you don't want all business secrets to be public. Otherwise, you give the opponent an advantage because they have their secrets and they have your knowledge. So
yes, and business is very fickle. You may hear about a partnership on Monday, and by Friday, nothing comes of it. You have to make sure that projects are actually being started with, and it's not just we're allies and let's see how we can work with each other in a couple of years. Let's actually have something actionable. Let's actually have a plan to grow our businesses conjointly, and then we can talk about it. But Chainlink saying they're fond of Cardano, which they didn't, or Cardano saying they're fond of Chainlink, which they didn't. It means nothing unless we find out what solutions that they're going to be building together.
yeah, I don't believe nothing until I see it working.
Yep.
Not in crypto.
Yep. Exactly.
Someone says, this is my vision, this is my goal. Check. I'm with you on that. But when it comes to how does it work? Like, who was it? Someone dumped Digibyte the other day, Polynex Exchange got in a Twitter argument, and then magically a couple hours later they dumped Digi. What?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. Like it was a coincidence? I don't think so.
Yeah.
That was just vengeance. I'm like, we don't want to be involved with that.
Yeah.
We don't want
Yeah.
that kind of business. I
Yeah.
don't. I don't. Okay. Any other questions? And
Let's see.
did we hit the main subjects and we'll head over to Reddit, which are
Yeah.
also covered on
Yeah.
Reddit?
Yeah. We hit the main subjects. I keep on saying, I say this question twice. How can Tezos surpass Cardano from S attack? I don't know. I really don't know.
What type of attack?
How can Tezos surpass Cardano? This is the second time I've heard this question. I don't understand that question.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, there's all kinds of factors.
Yeah.
It would take a very specialized analyst to figure that out.
Yeah.
But it is a good question.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess we can jump over to Reddit. Josh O, no, they will not be conducting another snapshot before end of testnet. Refer to the first 30 minutes of the podcast episode. Last snapshot was November 29th for the testnet staking. If you missed that, you missed it.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
No, that was it. That was
Okay.
it. The snapshot
Okay.
was 29th,
Okay.
1200 UTC.
Okay.
Yeah, man. All right, hopping over to Reddit.
Okay. Sounds good.
And there are a couple revisit on subjects over on Reddit. We're on this week, top 10
Okay.
at the Cardano Reddit. And thank you to the Reddit moderators for running a really good Reddit, because Reddit, there's some great places on Reddit, like science and poetry. And other places, crypto Reddits tend to get a little bit reckless, but ours is managed well. So we have some really good mods over there helping keeping things relevant, current, and keeping the FUD and the other stuff not so, under control.
Yes.
Which is why you have mods. That's why they have mods. You have to have them. Otherwise people go crazy. Okay. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so number one this week is Charles Hoskinson announced he's ready to do an AMA today, which was it was 3 days ago. He did an AMA. It was as usual, it's really good. He shot that one from his office, and there was a lot of information put out. I honestly can't remember everything he put out, but it was really an update on everything that's going on from the CEO's point of view, from his office, live. So check out that AMA. It was good. I watched all of it. Yeah, I watched that entire AMA. I luckily caught that one live. Make sure you subscribe to his channel too. You get the alerts. Hit the bell. Hit that bell right there down below the thing, and you'll get an alert. That's how I catch his AMAs and Philippe's and everyone and Hashoshi's. I got the bell set and it pops up and you get an alert.
Yes.
On your phone.
Yes.
Catch him live. The second one was released invoicing with Cardano blockchain. That was posted by Trade Feeds, and that's where a person from Quantarol is demonstrating how the invoicing with Cardano blockchain would work. So the good news on there is the Quantarol pickup. Now, I'm not really familiar with their tech, but apparently they got a lot of good reviews, and there's a lot of people talking about the interface with Quantarol. Do you know anything more about that, Philippe?
No, I do not. I mean, I've been watching their videos. I do not know more about Quantarol, the actual company, but they seem to specialize in POS solutions, not proof of stake, like point of sale. So actual like retail locations and commercial applications. So whether that be like in a grocery store or just a business, like B2B business and B2C as well. So being able to, scan QR codes and pay with ADA, and it converts and sends it to the receiver's wallet. So it's definitely something that's well needed and things that need to be worked on now. So when regulation clears up a little bit and we're not triple taxed for crypto, then we can maybe deploy some of these solutions in brick and mortar locations around the US and around the world.
Yeah, and someone pointed out in the comments that it was fast. There was a fast response time on the video with the ADA payment. I'm not sure how this relates to the Cody as well. We got Cody and got Quantarol.
Yeah.
So people are coming to Cardano, and this has been said before. If Cardano is a huge success, Cardano is not going to have to hunt everybody down. People are going to come to Cardano They're going to say, you know what, we need to use that platform. So someone said it's fast. It is fast. The 080 RC9 testnet that's running right now, you send a transaction, bam. It's quick, decentralized. It's not going to the federated servers. It's being broadcast to a decentralized network. I'm seeing response times. I think the average response time is around 10 to 12 seconds. I've seen as quick as 5 seconds. Depends on when the next block is due. And I've seen take as long as 18 to 20 seconds. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So you're seeing fast response time with the Quantarol technology that they're demonstrating in that video.
Yes. Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. And the next Reddit post was the Shelley node map, which Rick just shared at the beginning of this podcast. He explained exactly how the node map works. It was created by the Symphony of Blockchains team, and it is a wonderful visualization for actually what's going on between the nodes. And it's fun to just look at. And like Rick was saying, if you're in the office or something like that, you want to put it as a screensaver and just have it on a screen while people walk by. I mean, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, and then the following post after that was the Charles Hoskinson. Hoskinson said the Cardano Foundation is getting ready for its next level of the Cardano Foundation by hiring Tamara and Nico, and to accept the responsibility to help them guide them through their growth and duties. So it was a tweet that he sent out, and we just talked about the Cardano Foundation. There are 2 new hires. So that's great news. The next one after that, IOHK Twitter, the testnet calculator is available. I spoke to this at the beginning of the podcast. If you want to go ahead and play with the numbers, the reward percentages is around 7.8% right now. You can go and mess to see exactly how much your daily gains are, your monthly gains, and your yearly gains. And once again, this varies day by day, minute by minute, because price varies as well. And doesn't mean that it's going to be exactly 7.8%. Like Charles was saying, it's going to be somewhere between 7 and 15%. And depending on how many people actually delegate their stake, the less people that actually delegate and participate, the higher the rewards. The more people that delegate, the lower the rewards. But it all balances out, and we should be pushing for as many people to delegate as possible, because that's when we talk about actual capital appreciation of the actual asset itself, and not just you're collecting more rewards. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, you know, Philippe, it's interesting you point that out, and I'm glad you pointed that out. Is there? I mentioned this before, like Dr. Stephen Covey has 2 different. He's a author from the '90s and early 2000s, and a brilliant guy. He has 2 approaches. There's the abundance approach and the scarcity approach. And if you want more rewards for yourself, so you want less people to participate, you're going to get more rewards of something of less value. But if you take the abundance approach and say, okay, if everybody participates, you'll get a smaller percent of something that has more utility. Now, I can't say if the value is going to be higher, but once it goes mainnet, I imagine it would be. I think it's fair to say that it should be, but I can't say that it will. So it depends on how you approach it. You know, do you want more of something with less utility, or do you want less of something with more utility? That's probably a good way to phrase it.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
All right. I'll check for any questions. We do have a few more Reddit things to hit on, but we covered most of it.
Falcon Eye Vision said, Rick Phil, many people want to see Charles Hoskinson on your show again, especially at this particular time. Any chance? Of course, Charles is always welcome on the Cardano Effect podcast, so he can come on whenever. Hopefully we can get him on sometime soon. You know, we're definitely game for that, and I'm sure, but he's very busy, and you have to make sure that it makes sense. You know, we're not going to ping him just to jump on the Cardano Effect podcast. If he has something he wants to say, like we're an open platform for him to come and speak, and we would definitely like for him to come on. But but
he does really good. He does really good with his AMAs.
He does.
Because
he does.
If you imagine this, I want him to come on. Definitely. I mean, I love having Charles on here. It's so much fun. And if he's sitting in his office and he sees information that is not aligning with reality, then he can say, you know what, I can do an AMA. He can launch an app on his computer, do the AMA, and fix the information like instantaneously or near instantaneously. He can get the correct information out on the street. It's very easy to do. But coordinating across multiple people, multiple schedules is a little more difficult. So what we'll do with bringing Charles on, we'll do specific and planned
Yes.
subjects like we've done with all of the researchers and also with Charles before. So when we have something
Yes.
specific, for example, demonstrating the new Yoroi and Daedalus wallet, well, specifically would be the Daedalus wallet um, for the testnet and helping people understand. That might be a good subject.
That might be a good subject. Yes,
So good
definitely.
idea. I appreciate
Good.
your
Yeah.
inputs. They're definitely very useful.
Yes.
You get more
Yes.
people thinking on the problem, better chance we're going to solve the problem, right?
Yes. Yes. Morad Al Falad said, "How will DApp developers be incentivized in the future?" Well, one way I can look at this, or one way people can look at this, is the more users that are within the Cardano ecosystem that can actually use the DApp would incentivize DApp developers to continue creating their DApps and maybe creating a business model behind their DApps. The reason why there are so many DApps on Ethereum, we can debate whether or not they have utility, but is because that Ethereum has the largest base of people that are actually using smart contracts in crypto. It's the second largest cryptocurrency out there, and there are a lot of people behind Ethereum. And chances are that regardless of what you think about Ethereum, people will continue to use Ethereum because there's already such a large base of people that have been introduced to the project. So there are customers to actually use the dApps, whether that be CryptoKitties or whatever dApps are being built. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. My take on that is I don't want a massive number of dApps. I would like to see the right dApps
Mm.
or apps. I'm just going to call them apps. A dApp is
Yeah,
simply an app that connects to a blockchain. That's all it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Some of the dApps are confusing. The financial ones, the DeFi related ones, and stuff like that. But simply an app that uses blockchain data or connects in some way. It doesn't, and it's an app,
yeah.
you know, and I don't want to see a bunch of junk apps on Cardano that
No,
just cause
no,
clutter. The
no.
way I see it is kind of reverse the problem. What they're doing, no, Ethereum is the largest um, smart contract blockchain. Although they're number two, they are number one with smart contracts. And if you start from the crypto side and you work your way to the rest of the world, I don't think that's the right way to do it. I think you're trying to fit the square peg in the round hole. Okay. I think what would help dApp developers on Cardano if they take the real world and say, how do I look back towards blockchain and what problem does that solve? So if you take things real world use cases right now, again, my silly examples of video games and coupons, for example, and you take those real world applications and point back to the blockchain and say, what problem does blockchain solve? Then you have dApps that are useful, that have utility, like Philippe said. But you got to take the real world and say, what problem can I solve with the blockchain, rather than take the blockchain and say, what clever idea can I come up with to get people enticed into using blockchain? Because I've seen both, and they don't always work.
Good
And
point, Rick. Good point.
yeah,
Good point.
yeah.
Good point.
I know people haven't bought off my coupon idea yet. I hope some developer out there does it. You're
No,
gonna.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's.
Rick,
I think it'll work. I
yep.
think it'll work.
I think that would work too.
What's the difference between a coupon and a smart contract? Nothing. A coupon is a smart contract. If I purchase this product by this date, you're going to give me a discount of this much, and you don't have to create an unlimited supply of wasted tokens. They just loop back. When I expend my coupon, it goes back to the manufacturer's wallet,
Manufacturer. Yes.
and they can
And
reissue it.
yes, and they save the cost of having someone the actual retailer having to mail back the coupons to get their
Yeah,
credit, and then a check gets mailed back over there, and it's a whole 1 month, 2 month process to
yeah,
redeem a 75-cent coupon for the manufacturer,
yeah.
and recoup their cost or recoup whatever tax, whatever way.
The manufacturer doesn't have to mail the coupons out to you and then
Exactly,
hope you come and use them. They can
exactly,
airdrop them into your wallet.
and
Just magically, okay, I installed a
yeah,
coupon dApp,
yeah,
then magically the coupons show up in my thing, and then when you click bing, and you expend your coupon, the manufacturer gets instantaneous feedback on who's purchasing their products and
exactly.
where
And there's always
without getting
those.
your KYC.
Exactly. And there's always those situations where the manufacturer only wants one individual to have a certain coupon and not duplicate coupons. This is a way for the manufacturer to get involved and understand their supply chain management a little bit better. So like they're airdropping coupons to loyal customers. They're not airdropping 50 to one person and one to another person. Everyone kind of gets a more equal share or whatever they view as equal. I mean, it's a good business move for the actual manufacturer. Rick, these are the solutions that are going to take it from this level to this level, because no matter how much code that we write, if we can't simplify the code into real world solutions, it's just not going to work out. Because at the end of the day, no regular person outside this podcast that's just working and shopping and working for to make sure that their family and friends are taken care of. No one cares about this blockchain stuff. You have to make them care. And the way you're going to make them care is incentivize them. All those new apps that come on your iPhone or your Android device that are telling you to save money if you shop here or you use this receipt or this receipt. That's how you get people in. That's how you get people in. That's how you get people to use your platform. So I think that's a great solution, Rick.
And it's just an example that can be transferred to any sort of financial smart contract. That was just an example of something that a gap I've seen. And to add to that example is I pay for the groceries with the smartphone and go bing, and it pays for it. Then take out the paper coupons and scan it on the scanner, beep, and then drop it in the slot. So there's a gap.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a gap.
That is true. That is true. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Just an idea, though. I mean, it applies to anywhere there needs there's a solution. The blockchain will provide the solution to a problem. Are we going to hop back over to Reddit?
Yes, let's hop back over to Reddit. We have a question that says, from Nell G says, "Hi, sorry, just came in. Will running a stake pool be as complicated after testnet as it is now? Will there be a possibility of buying the service instead of installing the pool?" Well, to answer your first question, I think that it's going to get less complicated as time goes by because the system is still very new. But I still don't think it's going to be turnkey at any particular moment in time. Like, I think you're going to have some sort of expertise. It's not like you have to be a level 20 master, but there are certain things that you need to understand. As far as buying the service of installing the pool, I did hear at the IOHK Summit that the RockPi solutions, maybe they might be sold as like kits to people, like kind of like developer kits, so you can buy the hardware yourself and tinker around with it. But once again, that's on you, and it is a RockPi at the end of the day, so it's not as reliable as an actual server. I know people are going to get at me at this, but I stay firm. It's not an actual server, but maybe someone will sell actual turnkey solutions for your server-based stake pool. But until then, it's not the hardest thing in the world, but it's not the easiest thing either.
It takes some skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I add to that, Philippe?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go for it.
No, the RockPi thing, I was skeptical, but right now Jormungandr is running at like 58 megabytes of RAM as opposed to 2.5 gigabytes of RAM. So it might work. Now, I threw a challenge out there and said, if that works, I'm going to eat something undesirable.
Oh,
I might be eating something undesirable, man. But the objective is, can you run a global financial system on RockPi? Right. Okay. I think when the transaction load goes up, that's when we'll find out.
Fair enough.
We still have more data to collect.
Fair enough. We have another question from Falcon Eye Vision. Can you guys try to increase your audience? It's such a great show, and I think we should try to expand. Social media, 124 is great, but not enough. Well, we appreciate all the people that are in the chat right now, all the people that have supported the Cardano Effect podcast. This is a very niche project, so I don't anticipate that we're going to have, Justin Bieber numbers anytime soon, or even Charles Hoskinson numbers anytime soon. But what you can do is you can subscribe to the Cardano Effect podcast. You can share it and help us out. We are on Twitter. We do sync our information. So when we do release an episode, we do put it on Twitter. We're syndicated on so many different platforms. You can listen to our audio. You can download our audio almost everywhere. And just because you see a couple thousand people watching it on YouTube, you also have to remember that there's a couple thousand people actually downloading our episodes as well. And those are separate from the YouTube downloads. So we do have increased viewership, but once again, we can always improve. And that's why I always push push everyone to subscribe to the Cardano Effect podcast. It really helps. It really does. So I think that y'all can help us grow this. You know, we can do our efforts as well, but all of us together can help us grow.
Yeah, you know, Philippe, that as far as the numbers and all that kind of stuff, maybe we can get PewDiePie on. Number one YouTuber.
Oh, man.
Yeah, yeah, right. It's doing good though. We've got more viewership thanks to everybody who's watching right now than two of the EOS podcasts. Cipher Glass is a pretty good podcast. Those guys run a good show.
Yeah.
And there's another one I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's more people watching the Cardano Effect than those two podcasts. Plus, Cardano has more podcasts, right? We got
Yes.
before, you got
Yes.
TCGP, you got TCCP, we got Cardano FR, the one that's run by Quentin,
Yeah.
and you got Crypto Visor, that counts. Okay, all those other people. Sugar Zeus was running one, so you got a lot of people running them. Plus, you got Philippe's main channel as well. So. Yeah. Although those are more informational, they're not really the podcast. But as far as podcast goes, we're doing really good, and it's a big ocean out there, and there's room for more podcasts.
Yes.
YouTube is a gigantic place.
Yes, it is. It is. It is.
It's massive, and crypto is a really big industry too.
Yes. And I guarantee you, if the price of Cardano reaches its all-time high, I don't want to gas our own podcast up, but I think that this podcast will take a huge viewership spike because of that. Just because people will be interested in the project, and by default, Rick and I have created a pretty vast catalog of different interviews from different people. We have our live streams as well. We have different types of episodes, and I think people will come and try to figure out more information about the project. And this is where they're going to come. These episodes are not being removed. They're staying here until the eternity, until the earth blows up. So
yeah, it's good to point. I'm glad you pointed that out. We license this podcast as Creative Commons so that people can use and share the content. Creative Commons doesn't allow you to just be completely reckless. But it allows you to reuse it, and it gets us broader. We also license the podcast as it's not created for children, but it's also not explicit material.
Yeah.
We don't swear on the podcast.
Exactly.
For example, and that keeps it. That keeps us on good ratings. We make sure we're compliant with all the YouTube rules. We meet all YouTube requirements, so we're good in that category. We're not allowed to do promos. That violates the YouTube rules. Yeah. You can't buy subscribers. It's against the rules. If we do that, they can shut down that video. So like Philippe said, what we're doing with the podcast is we are tracking the history of Cardano. These are permanent videos. They stay up forever. We want to make sure we document the creation of Cardano, and it's a permanent record on YouTube.
Oh, definitely.
And we don't want to see a video get taken down for reasons outside of our control, or because we broke the rules.
Yes. No, we stick to the rules. We play by the game. Rick and I are very meticulous with what we do. We put a lot of planning and energy before each episode. We make sure everything is correct. If you ever go on the Cardano Effect podcast as a guest, you understand how much time we spend doing sound checks and making sure that people's video is correct and microphones are good and headsets are okay. We sometimes spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe an hour just prepping sound. And the guests may be annoyed by the time we even start recording. But after we release the episode, they realize exactly how much work we put in and what the quality is. Because people can go to the gym and listen to very high quality audio about the Cardano Effect and not feel like they need to turn it off because there's so much background noise or any of that sort of nonsense. We really take our time making this.
Yep. And it's as good as the microphone of the guest.
Yes.
Exactly. Or better.
Well, exactly.
We reprocess it, and we record at hundreds of kilobits per second, so we get really high quality audio.
Yes.
So that was a little bit of meta about the podcast. So
yes,
there was one other big subject we were going to do, Philippe.
Yeah. We talked about it before because we had to.
It's coming up in the chat now. People are starting to bring it up. The big fight. What do you got to say about that, buddy?
Rick and I have talked about this off screen, and we have contrary positions. So I don't know. Should I put my platform out first and then then
Say
pass it over to
whatever it
you?
is you got to say, brother.
Okay.
Just don't drop the F bomb.
No, I won't drop the F bomb. No, I'll keep it professional. You know, I've been involved with this project for over 2 years. I know I sound like a broken record saying that by now, but you know, crypto is the strangest place on this planet. Like, it's such a strange industry to be part of. There's just, it seems like there's tomfoolery at every single corner. Like, things just, if you think you've heard it all, then you really haven't heard it all. And I know everyone has been seeing what's been going on, and we can't ignore it. And we want to speak with everything about everything that's happening with this project for the week. And the big news is the Chico and Charles fight that's going down, this MMA fight that's supposed to be happening. I think Crypto Crow is promoting it. Personally, for me, you know, once again, I haven't built Cardano. This is not my business. This is not my. I haven't built it to what it is today. So maybe what I'm saying is just complete hogwash. But I really don't see the point of this showdown. I think it's kind of a waste of time, to tell you the truth. Um, yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know. I don't know. The clout chasing, and it's gone to undescribable heights. And I'm not sure if it's always been like this in history, or it's just the internet that's exposing all of this nonsense. But it always seems like people are just trying to one up each other as far as events and spectacles. And when I first got involved with this project, one of the key tenets was banking the unbanked. And you know, I'm thinking about the poorest of poor people in Africa, or the poorest of poor people in South America, or the poorest of poor people in Asia. And I don't really understand how fighting a troll helps that cause whatsoever. But maybe I may be looking at it from an incorrect angle, and I don't understand the greater scheme or the greater play. Charles is more experienced than I am, so I'm kind of just watching this unfold. But yeah, I mean, you know, I think it's a lot of clout chasing, and yeah, I don't know what the standard is anymore. I don't think that this is a necessarily a good move. But yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know what else to say about it. Um, I guess I can throw in a humorous joke, or if people find it humorous, but the great philosopher Offset from the Migos said, "People do anything for clout," and I think that's basically sums up my viewing, my point for this. And I think this is just a complete, just this is clout chasing at its maximum. But once again, I haven't built the project, and I may not know the greater play. I've watched Charles's videos explaining it. I still don't really understand it, but maybe it's just because I just can't comprehend it. So I'll pass it over to you, Rick. That's my point.
Roger. No, I have a different opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's funny, and I also think it's reckless. So I hold multiple opinions on the same subject. So it's both funny and reckless. I think it'll be interesting to find out what the effect is, what that does. Maybe it will break crypto out of this paradigm that crypto is a bunch of computer nerds who are sitting behind a computer and they don't go outside and play. Maybe, I don't know. There's a little bit of a paradigm there. But I also I also share some similar opinion with you. Is like, what the heck? Because Charles is like the gladiator in the arena. I pointed that out before. So Charles is the gladiator in the arena, building cryptocurrency. You know, putting massive effort into it. And Chico is just the guy on the sideline pointing and laughing. And modern technology gives him the ability to point a camera at himself, pointing and laughing, and then broadcast it across the internet. And so it's, I don't know, is it like, let's say I'm at WWF wrestling match and I'm watching Dwayne Johnson pummel, you know, Mad Dog, whoever, and then I'm like, and then he challenges me to wrestle him. I'm like, okay, I'm going to come in and wrestle you. That's just an analogy, you know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wrestle Dwayne Johnson. I tell you what, Philippe, I wouldn't fight you either, man. You got a long reach. So anyway, the match is about boxing, right? It was framed in the context of boxing. So
Yeah.
and Charles, I met him. He's about 6'3". He's a lot taller than I am. He's got a long arm on him. I don't know how tall Chico is. So if it's a boxing match, I'm going to put money on Charles. No, it's a charity event, so that was a good thing. So it's become a charity event. It's evolving into a good thing, and I think that's good promo. I think it gets some promo for crypto, but I also still think it was a very reckless thing to do. But
I
hey,
do.
that's Charles. He's reckless. He could do whatever he wants. I mean, if he wants, not reckless, but if he wants to do that, go for it, man.
Yeah.
Knock yourself out. But my only advice is win.
Yeah. No, it's a tough one, Rick, because like whatever, I think Chico actually benefits more than Charles will ever benefit from this. Chico will be infamous as challenging the CEO of one of the largest cryptocurrency projects and fighting him because like Charles said in one of his AMAs, Chico is like the TMZ of crypto. So this is exactly what it is. The TMZ does the celebrity boxing, and this is what it is. I mean, I just think it kind of it contrasts with the roadmap of Cardano. I don't see MMA match in Shelley or Gogan era. So, so I just don't know where we fall for that. And the charity angle, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm all for charity. Charity is wonderful. I mean, it is great to have charity. It's great to help people out. But Charles has bags of money. Like he can just donate to St. Jude's on his own. I don't think we need a charity event to promo this fight. And like the gambling, he was saying about gambling dApps, like gambling solutions for this fight. But what happens after the fight? After people put their ADA gamble on Chico versus Charles, like after the fight is done, does that gambling app disappear, or do we get typecasted in some sort of box, like we're just some sort of gambling platform, where we do some sort of celebrity boxing or celebrity MMA match? I don't know. There's just a lot of questions. But like you were saying before, Charles has a way of doing things that are not on the the traditional path and still achieving successful results. So he could be omitting some information about a bigger play at hand that we just don't know. And we kind of have to just follow the lead because he's been successful up to this point. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, good leadership is not just doing the same thing over and over again. And transformational leadership isn't just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to transform an industry is to do something transformative. And
Okay.
so, hey, let's find out what happens. So,
Yeah.
Philippe and I we're not going to entirely agree on whether this is good or not. I find
Yeah.
it rather curious.
Yeah.
But one thing we can agree on, should we do a live stream from the match?
Yeah, we should do a live stream
We
for the
should do a
match.
live stream from the match, though. And we're going to root. I'm going to root for Charles. Maybe I'll get a T-shirt or something that says Charles on it.
There's so many things that need to be. Charles has a lot of work ahead of him because he's got to plan his like entrance music. I know he's got to come out. I mean, Charles is a very wealthy individual, so he needs to come out to something, like he needs to have his favorite band or some sort of artist accompany him on the walk. He's got to have specially designed shorts, maybe get some advertising sponsors on the shorts. Like it has to be well thought out, product placement. Um,
Get a
he's gonna,
Jormungandr tattoo on his chest.
yeah.
Jormungandr.
He's
With
got
an
to
F.
figure out who he wants ringside, like, Duncan Coots or, like he's got to find out who he wants ringside. It's a production. So,
Yeah. Well, Crypto Crow's the promoter. Crypto Crow, Jason Appleton,
okay.
and I think someone said it in chat.
Okay.
He's the promoter,
Is
and
he an M is
he's
he
very popular.
okay. Is he a fight promoter? Like, is that his natural?
I, I think he has skills in promoting anything.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
he's skilled in promoting anything. I think he runs an exchange. I don't remember exactly, but he's just very, I mean, he's got a huge YouTube channel and he's very charismatic and he's really good at interviews. He interviewed Charles before and he's going to promote it.
Okay. Well, I guess that leaves it at that. I mean, the community seems to be sort of split. Rick and I talked about it. Some people agree, some people disagree with the fight. It seems like it's going to be moving forward. I think I think it would be. I don't see either. I mean, I don't think Charles is going to back down, and I don't think Chico is going to back down either.
I think
So
Charles initiated the challenge.
really,
Yeah,
oh
I thought
wow,
so. I thought it just came up in an
come on,
AMA once
yeah,
time. It was probably an idea. It was probably well thought out.
yeah.
You know what? I should do this. Yeah,
I
it
saw
only takes a couple seconds.
I saw on Twitter that Chico was asking for like 2.5% of ADA or something like that from Charles's pockets as a prize instead of charity. But he talks a lot of smack about Cardano, but he wanted the 2.5%.
No
Um,
way. I'll
yeah,
bring Band-Aids. He can have those.
yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. You know, what do I know? What does anyone know about how this will affect the future? It seems to, you know. So, but I guess it needs. It's not in Shelley or it's not in Gogan. So this is an extracurricular.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Well,
Yeah.
we're over our hour. We're going
Okay.
to finish up. Any other questions? Let us know in chat. I'm going to do another quick scan here.
Okay.
And it looks like people have mixed feelings about it too. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine. We're not everybody's going to agree on everything. There's no
No.
way.
Yeah. No. It's not. It's no hard feelings. What I said about Charles. It's not. I care about this project. I think Charles is a good guy, and it is what it is. He's his own person, and he can do what he wants. And if he has a bigger plan at head, this is his business. So we've got to kind of follow exactly what he's doing, and he's been successful thus far. So you got to give him a chance.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so too. And it looks like we've got a good wrap up here
Okay.
for the today's live cast. Thank you everyone for
Okay.
joining, and thank you
Yes.
for your questions. I think we got everything covered in chat. If I missed it, please forgive me. I'm trying to hit
Yes.
all of these.
Okay. So yeah. So I think that's it. And until the next episode of the Cardano Effect podcast, we appreciate everyone spending their Sunday morning, afternoon, whatever time it is in your time zone. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. This was fun. We talked a little bit about the information drop on December 5th. This should be another big week for Cardano. Jormungandr is updating. RC9 is stable. Things should be happening very soon before the end of December. So get ready for that. Get ready to delegate to stake pools. We talked also about the Cardano Foundation, the 2 new hires. Rick did a couple screen shares where he showed the new node map with all of its cool features. I mean, just the visual features written by the Symphony of Blockchains people. And then at the end, we just kept it fun and talked about the upcoming MMA match. So once again, we hope everyone has a very productive week. Spend some time with some friends and family. To all the US people, enjoy football later today. And yeah, so everyone have a great day. And this was episode 63 of the Cardano Effect podcast. Sorry, and we have 64 coming out tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning,
Tomorrow
stake pool
morning.
operators will be operating. They'll be answering community questions. So stake pool operators tomorrow morning.
Yes, and if you missed the Nathan Kaiser podcast, that was 62. So go check that out. That was a great podcast. All right. Bye, everyone. Until the next episode.